Greetings, this is Pillar Nexus the Ancient Gladiator, and I'm just doing a quick little chat about um, some PC games that I like, and I'm going to be focusing mainly on what I have on Steam. There are some games that I used to have long ago that'll be covered in a separate little chat. This is going to be low on visuals. Um, as I've stated before in my dislikes, I do not like the PC MR meme, as it were. It's if you know where it's coming from, it's in bad taste. So it's time to leave it be. So we'll start with the first game, Chips Challenge, which is a game I had long ago. Happy to find it on Steam. Really happy that I could uh, play with the old style graphics and all that, because the constant motion and seeing things actually move as they're moving from space to space, it's weirdly disorienting compared to the old style. But that was a game that pretty much was my childhood. That and Doom. But I don't have Doom on Steam. But yeah, it's just a game of block puzzles and timed levels and mazes and understanding the way monsters move around, having to outmaneuver them. Um, in many levels, you'd have to gather chips to get through the exit. I think one of the levels they screwed up where you don't actually need the chips, but it's one of those early childhood games of mine that helped to establish the way that I think. I look at puzzles and all that and look for details. This and a board game, well, less of a board game, more of a tabletop game that I'd get later called Mind Trap. Chip Challenge and Mind Trap were like the two most mind twisting games I had as a kid, and it's probably part of why I'm so weird now. And then there's Deus Ex, a first person role playing kind of game. Um, I haven't really messed with the PC one as much. My first experience with Deus Ex was with the PS2 port, which I got after um, I think listening to uh, Zero Punctuation. I think Yatsu was talking about it once or twice. It's like, okay, I'm going to find this and get it. I remember another time I tried finding it. I thought I'd found it, for the PC at a thrift store at one instance, and it turned out that it was for the Mac instead of the PC, so I couldn't play it. But it's an interesting idea of you know being able to modify your character, and it's a first person view, but there's the big story in there. I'm gonna have to come back to it and actually play what I have on Steam. There's the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, which I got back in like 2020, because I was getting curious about the Elder Scrolls series. So I'd gotten into a miniatures game called Cold Arms. Um, at some point, I'd like to explore the other games in the Elder Scrolls series, but first I want to come back to Morrowind. I played that for a bit. Apparently, I just kind of blew past the tutorial city and just went on my own, and that's probably a dumb idea because um, going to do this one mission to clear out these rats ended pretty badly. But it's role playing adventure action. It's probably the one I most want to go back to. It's between that and Fallout. But I do like the world, and I really want to. I just want to come back to it so much. And then there's EVE Online, MMO space game. Get a ship, go mine rocks, go fight stuff. Fun times. But I don't know if I'd actually come back to that one because it requires a lot of commitment and time and all that. But yeah, I was surprised to see it on Steam. Last time I played the game was like late 2010s. No, late 2000s, early 2010s. And I think the only thing I really liked out of the EVE verse was the board game. EVE Conquest. That I might get again, but I'm not sure about coming back to the MMO. We'll have to see. Fallout's another one. It's one of the main ones I want to come back to. Post-apocalyptic role-playing adventure. And that's another one I had the board game for that I didn't like the scoring element, but I liked everything else about it. But my first experience with playing the game was a struggle. Just wasn't sure what way I should have been going, and ended up in a prison that I could not get out of. But it's like I said, I want to return to it and maybe beat it this time. It's an interesting theme, interesting system. Would definitely be up for coming back to it. Hyperdimension Neptunia Rebirth 1. I think it's one of those games that I got into after coming back from when I moved to Washington State. And it was after getting into the anime. The anime was a lot of fun. But I got into that game and played the living crap out of it. It was fun. Yeah, it's very, very moe. Cute anime girls. Which can be fun sometimes, but you always want characters to be more than just a personality trait written onto a post-it note stuck to a cardboard piece that looks like the character. You want someone deeper than that. But Neptunian 1 was fun. I tried to run Rebirth 2, and my computer could not handle it. So I tried to make it a point to pay better attention to system requirements before I buy games. But I've completely completed that one. I don't need to go back to it. Lords of Magic made me very happy to find that one on Steam, because that was a part of my early teenage years here in Pueblo. Lords of Magic and Quake 2. And Lords of Magic has these 8 factions, which are called Faiths. Fire, Air, Earth, Water, Life, Death, Chaos, Order. And for each of them, you could choose one of 3 leader types: Warrior, Mage, Thief. I was always a big fan of going into the custom leader creation for Fire, Warrior, Lord, and giving my guy Dragon Scale Armor and Eternal Flame, and then boosting his levels as much as I could. And just have this, tank of, if you hit him, there's a chance that they get hit by a firebolt. And always regenerating during battle and completely healed at the end. It's, that that was a nasty lore to build up and go rampaging across the world. But it it has a lot to it, surprisingly. There's researching magic. There's having your lords and champions at training facilities for better experienced warriors and stuff. There's using your thief to knock out enemy champions and kidnap them and interrogate them for information or torture them or either kill them off or set them free. And there'd be like these political ramifications for the stuff that you do. And that is a game I might come back to. I like the main game, but I also like the Legends of Iraq as a fun little side thing. A little quest system of, you play as one of the 5 different characters, and you're trying to achieve certain goals. And it was a nice game, I think. Obviously not as big as Warcraft and all that, but I still think it's pretty cool. So there was a time when I moved to Washington State to work with my dad for a bit, and as part of moving there and working with him, I got a brand new laptop computer, which I still have to this day. That's what I'm using to record this. So I've had it for this is 7 years now. This is an old computer. And I'm going to have to replace it. But, I'm getting sidetracked. Getting a better computer meant I could get Steam back on and finally play Portal 1, which I'd bought long ago for a computer that couldn't handle it. And now I was finally able to play it, and that game is a blast. It is, when you finally wrap your head around it, it's just awesome. And yeah, I wouldn't get into Portal 2 until I came back and found a board game version of Portal called the Uncooperative Cake Acquisition game, which had a code for Portal 2. And I was like, oh yay, I'm hoping I can run that one. And thankfully my computer could run it. That was pretty cool. A little more story to it and a little more experimentation with like the gels and the funnels and all that. But yeah, both Portal games are just great experiences. I have yet to do the 2-player Portal 2 experience. That might be something I look into in the future, but I think for the time being, I'm happy with the time I've spent with Portal, and I'm not really looking to come back to it anytime soon. So I got Princess Maker 2 Refine earlier this year because I listened to an episode of Hardcore Gaming 101's Top Games podcast. I think it was the bonus Patreon thing. I was like, okay, I'm curious. I saw it on Steam and got it, and that game is hard. I'm honestly not sure what the best way is for playing it. I might come back to it before Portal or Morrowind, or not Portal, Fallout or Morrowind, and try to figure that out first. But I mean, it seems interesting, Raising Sims are not things I've really done much with before. I think I had a Giga Pet, and I think Digimon World might be the closest other thing to a racing sim that I've messed with. But it's it seems like a nice game. I really should put some more time into it and try to figure it out. Because it's a different kind of experience, and I think with games sometimes it's nice to try something different. Quake Live is one I remember from when it was a browser-based game, and I got into it before having a good enough connection toward. Thankfully, I had this little wireless receiver thing, and thankfully there was someone in the neighborhood with a Linksys uh, wireless router that was not protected, and that was how I got to play Quake Live from the comfort of home. Um, and in those early days, uh, really glad we have broadband more available now, but still, Quake Live, just fast paced first person shooter mayhem. Um, None of that hero shooter stuff. No experience. Um, no skins to download or gotcha to pay real money for. Just a pure experience. And I'm so glad it's still going. That it's mainly play with the Dark Fiber server, which is always got a crowd. It's just fun times. Quake Live is the one game I can reliably come back to and always have fun with. Shadowverse was a game I got into last year because some people in Hololive were playing it, and so it's like, okay, I'm gonna give this game a try. It's an interesting little game of every turn you have one more point to play with than previous turns. You max out 10. Use them to play cards, and then use your creatures or whatever they're called in this one to attack and try to bring your opponent down to 0 health. And it's an okay game. We're getting really hooked into it, but I think as soon as the deck I had built had its best elements rotated out, that's about where I lost interest. Started losing interest, and then because I've also been watching Hololive around that time, um, I think I made a point to step back from the game when Kiryu Coco announced her graduation. It's like, okay, I'm setting this game aside. I want to focus on watching whatever remaining stuff she's got going, and see her on her way out. Wish her the best. I come back to Shadowverse later, but then Iris debuted, and it's like, you know what? I'm done trying to keep up with this game. My best deck rotated out, and I'm getting more interested with the VTubers. I want to just be done with this game. I haven't touched Shadowverse since, but I still think it's an interesting enough game to try out, especially if you like the more the anime style of art, because that's always a selling point to me is anime style stuff. The Stanley Parable was another game I got into in like 2020. I think before getting into Morrowind. That was a game of choosing your own paths at different forks on the road and creating odd narrative of exploring video game tropes and everything. That's one of those kinds of experiences that I'm actually okay with. I'm not really interested in stuff like Spec Ops, The Line, or Bioshock. I've had a lot of stuff spoiled for me, and it's like, okay, I'm actually just no, I'm not going to do this. But the Stanley Parable, I had like no issue with, precisely because it's going in fully aware of that. And it actually manages to be weirdly engaging and a little bit existential horror inducing. Um, so I'm trying to get the 5 years, 5 years without playing an achievement. So I'm staying away from it for now. But I was watching a Let's Play of the recent update. I think it's pretty cool that they're doing more with it and finding new things to try out and acknowledge and poke fun at and everything. But yeah, it's definitely an experience worth checking out at least once. Along similar lines, we have Undertale, little old style graphics and a bit of bullet hell, and it's got a lot of heart. It's also a game that had spoiled for me, but I ended up getting into the game anyway. I want to say back in 2019, I think. It was like right around the time Deltarune came out as well. Yeah, it was an interesting experience. I'm glad I went with the path that I went with, and after ending the game where it is, it's like, okay, I'm gonna leave it. I don't need to come back to this game. It's done. I achieved what I wanted to achieve. I respect the game for existing. I admire what it's accomplished, but I'm done with the game. I think that it was around that time I also started looking for like more info and just it seems like a lot of people have different ideas regarding lore and theories into the game. It's like, okay. Oh yeah, that was probably the game that got me to start taking a look at um, people who stream games, but I never really got big into it. I did get to see a lot of YouTube stuff about people reacting to certain scenes. Um, but, you know, it's a good game, but I'm done with it. VVVVVV is a game where I played the demo back in like 2012 or 2013 and enjoyed it a little bit. And I didn't really think much about it until I was listening to another HD 101 podcast about it. And it's like, okay, I'm going to see how much this game costs. I'm going to get it. I think I got it around the same time as Princess Maker 2. And I got through that game pretty quick. I got through it in less than a day. It just took one day just sitting. It's like, okay, I'm going to complete this game. I'm going to get all the shiny trinkets. That one pain in the ass one that requires going up a tower and then going back down, and you have to get it like perfect. That took me like half an hour. And it was frustrating, but it was totally worth getting. But yes, very simple graphics, very awesome soundtrack, and the gameplay is just solid. It's It's the game I wish I could have had when I was a kid, because I would have fallen in love with it instantly. I still appreciate it, and I still think it's cool. It's just, you know, I'm glad the game does exist now, even even if I couldn't have it earlier in life. It's fun. I know there's like achievements and stuff, but I really, well, I'm happy having had the experience that I did with it. So I'm not in a big hurry to go back to the game, but I'm happy that I played it. And finally, there's May Nikki. I played it before it was on Steam, back in like 2012. Um, just an interesting dream world kind of game of exploring and finding these effects and encountering events. Something you kind of have to figure out what to do ahead of time, and it's a game that messed with my head. I usually don't want for like psychological horror type stuff, but that game really got into my head deep. I think there were times I was like struggling to sleep because of it, and eventually I did complete the game, and yeah, it's. I'm glad it's on Steam now for like wider availability, but it's not a game I'm going to return to a whole lot. Um, I want to play .flow at some point. It's amazing how many fan games are like inspired. I think out of all of them, Flow's the one I want to go check out the most. There's also like a newer one that I guess they kind of messed up. Didn't do as well. But it's an interesting game to explore at least once. It is not for the faint of heart, especially the ending. Okay, now some games that I don't own yet, but I have on my wish list. Um, West of Loathing, because I played Kingdom of Loathing way back when, and I like that style, and Wild West stuff is pretty cool. FTL, because I've been watching the a recent clip about Vesper from Tempest, all stars. Him getting through hard mode. It's like, oh, okay, I'm sufficiently curious enough to want to try this game out. Baldur's Gate 2, which I think is. I'm trying to remember if there's another one Vesper recommended, and I think HG 101 podcast also recommended it. I think I'm gonna have to go back and remember where I heard, but that looks interesting. There's what else? Age of Empires 2, I think. Let me double check. Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition. Because I saw Kiara playing that one, I think. And I could always try out more strategy stuff. And then there's the digital version of the board game Twilight Struggle. More a modern classic two-player kind of game of Cold War stuff. If it has an AI player, then great. But yeah, that's my wish list. Wild West, Outer Space, fantasy adventure, historical strategy, and Cold War Duel. Um, Depending on how this month, October, turns out, we'll see about getting them, see about playing them. But yeah, I want to sort out, what games I've got, and just come back to playing them once again, like I used to. I could always. It's not too hard to have a setup of watching a YouTube stream and on my phone while playing a game on my computer. That's what I've been doing lately. Like watching a stream on my phone while playing Minecraft on my computer has been my go-to mode for a while now. It helps my phone can get that internet. It's no real extra cost right now. But yeah, that's Pillar Loves PC Gaming, the Steam list. I might do another one talking about the games that I have that have been off of Steam, because there's a lot of the older ones that I got into, and it's for me. Games are everything right now. They're what keep my brain going, help me find a little bit of happiness, and just enjoy my free time away from work. But yeah, thank you very much for listening. See you next time.